Hello, I'm Keith with the Trombone Shop at Schmidt Music, back with another instrument review for you. And today I have, if there was a holy grail in the trombone world, this might be one of those instruments, an Earl Williams Model 6 small bore tenor trombone. These instruments have almost been legend in the trombone world, and in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and beyond were one of the go-to instruments for pro players throughout the United States beyond, and a lot of the innovations that Earl Williams developed we have seen continue on and influencing further designs in the trombone world. I've been in the trombone shop for 10 years. This is the first one of these I've had in, and I'm really excited to share the experience with you. So as always, I am going to take a play on it, then I'll talk about the experience afterwards. I'll be playing everything today on my trusty S.E. Shires Michael Davis Plus mouthpiece. Earl Williams trombones and Mr. Williams himself have become such a big part of the American trombone story, how things developed, kind of where we were, where we've gone, and even just the story of Earl Williams himself, starting off in Indiana and moving to California to work with F.E. Olds and then starting his own company, and everything, all of the legacy and everything are really tied into these really, really unique instruments. And so, of course, it's not only the story that makes these instruments unique, but it's the playing, it's the response. These are instruments that have been so highly regarded for literally generations on end. In their heyday, they were played by the best of the best players, and because of the extreme hand-built nature of the instruments, there are not a ton of them floating out there. They really are a bit of a true rarity out there. And so when one of these comes on the market, everybody takes notice. And like I mentioned, this is the first time that we have had one of the Williams instruments in the shop. While throughout the history of the company, there were a number of different models, this instrument, the 6, was the most common and the one that most folks are familiar with when we think of the Williams trombones. So, a few specifics about the 6 in particular. So, the Model 6 traditionally had a 7.5-inch bell, yellow brass bell. At that time, they were very standard with these instruments. Reverse tuning slide here with, of course, the very unique Williams-style curved grips here. We have a 500 bore hand slide, yellow brass outer tubes, and crook nickel-silver plated, or rather chrome-plated nickel-silver inner tubes here. And, of course, we have the iconic Williams grip here. If there is anything that Earl Williams developed that we have seen continue on, it's this design here. Some of the earlier models, this particular instrument dates back to, as far as we can tell, late 1940s. Again, because they were such a small production, the serial numbers were not always entirely sequential. Based off the number we have, plus some other features, we're guessing late 1940s. The story of how it came to us kind of matches up with that. This was a design that Earl Williams patented. With the earlier models, basically kind of pre-World War II, they had a stamping on it, say patent pending. Now in this case, it has the US patent number right on the grip. And of course, we've seen any number of different folks who have taken this idea as a direct inspiration or have tried to create their own version of all of that. But of course, beyond a lot of the basic features, it's about what these instruments provide in terms of playing, in terms of response, sound, all of this. I've had a chance through my career to play a couple of these instruments. Having really been able to dig in with this particular instrument, I really, really understand what brought these instruments to such a high level of regard. It is just a wonderful playing instrument. The first thing that really stands out to me is that it is a 500 bore, and kind of like we've talked about, the vintage 500 bore instruments a lot of times seem to play like a little bit more open than their modern counterparts. I would say this certainly has some of that. To me, it has a little bit more resistance to the blow than, say, for example, like a vintage King 2B of the same era. However, I think a lot of that is about what's happening with the bell. Just the weight and bounce and everything, there's some heft to it. And what this instrument provides is just an amazingly, not necessarily compact sound, but an amazingly dense sound in a certain way, without getting too dense, we'll talk about that, but just an amazing resonance and projection. When I play this instrument, it immediately fills up the space just effortlessly. And like I said, it's a sound that has some density to it, but it's not dark, it's not heavy. It has a resonance and it has a balanced brightness to it. And frankly, kind of given what I'm feeling with the weight of the instrument, it's actually a little bit more focused on, I'd say, some of the mid, getting towards upper overtones than I might expect with it. So what does that provide? Right off the bat, it just, between just the sound, the resonance, and the blow, it's amazingly even playing. The upper register going up to the 10th, 11th, 12th partial, and frankly beyond a little bit, they slot as well as anything I've ever played, kind of almost to the point where I found myself having to change a little bit how I played in that extreme upper register. With so many instruments, there's a certain amount of energy we have to be putting into the air, at least I have put into the air, the sound, kind of get everything to happen. With this, I felt like, in an interesting way, it gave me a little bit to push against to find that upper register. And it seems a little weird. It's like, well, wait, does that mean that we're working harder? Not really. It really felt more like, in a way, like if I worked a little bit less and kind of trusted the instrument to give me the right amount of resistance, everything slotted in that upper register a little bit easier. But all the way through, again, I thought the sound was really, really even going down below the staff. And again, just amazing, just beautifully responsive. It's not as light in its response as, say, like a King, for example. But at the same time, it feels a little bit quicker. It doesn't have some of the softness in the sound and response that we get out of, say, some of like the vintage Cons of the same era. It's just extremely well balanced. And what I really like about it is the timbre is something I feel I can really lean into. It's something that I feel like I can push, I can pull with it, I can change some of the dynamics, and just wherever I'm going, it's just going to remain just really, really stable, and it always almost feels like it's kind of anticipating what I'm trying to do, which to me a lot of times is a sign of an instrument that is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting with all of this. So it's like I said, getting to spend some time with it, I really do have a much deeper appreciation for what these instruments have brought to the table, whether it's all of the instrument innovations that Earl Williams brought to the table, whether it's the curved grip, the super unique curved water key here, all of those ideas, some of that stuck around, some that didn't, but more importantly, the handwork and the artistry and all of the history of American brass development and building and playing that's rolled into such a unique instrument like this. I'm really glad that I've had the chance to experience and be able to share this with you. If you have any thoughts or questions about what you heard, what I talked about, maybe you've had a chance to spend time with an Earl Williams, maybe you have one in your own library, we'd love to have you, comment, share and be a part of our community. And of course, if you like the video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel so that you can get more notifications about our videos we have coming out. And again, we'd love to have you as a part of our community with the channel. And of course, you can always find the Trombone Shop on Facebook and Instagram. As always, thanks for watching.